It is the face of Friday night. Peter Kibazo, Charles Romshana, and Ibrahim Semujunganda. Ibrahim and Charles, listening to both of you, of course, there are points at which you agree. But there are also points at which I hear the differing perspective. But Charles, let me get to you first. This coalition was largely put together by people in civil society. It was born of the platform for free and fair elections put together by the NGO Forum, different civil
and
society
by the political
groups.
parties. It was largely political parties.
The bedrock of it was the civil society. The civil society felt that they'd been insulted enough for being armchair and being inattentive and despondent about politics. They chose to come in. When I look at Bishop Zach Nirinjie, when I look at my friend Godba, when I look at Arthur LaRocque, all of them from civil society, these guys put in time, they put in brain, they fundraised for this mission at its early stages, up to when it was bought. The movements around this country collecting views was largely pushed by the civil society. The political parties joined in and they moved and traversed this country. I remember platforms at which I saw Norbert Mao, Kiza Besigye, Elias Lukwago, very unlikely partnerships at these rallies seeking views. Was this in itself a problem? That it was driven largely by civil society that know how to write beautiful projects, that know how to write ultimate ends and goals, and not the heart of politics.
The civil society of the Godbas and Nirinje, Godba Tumshava and Nirinje and the others, first realized that the problem mainly FDC had, why it was being bashed by NRM, left, right, and center, was that it didn't have a party platform. So the civil society sponsored FDC in having a party policy platform, which was very colorful, and FDC was happy about it. So you cannot come now at the second leg and you condemn the civil society for the failures of these political
I'm not condemning them.
No, I'm because there is that risk. I've been seeing operatives of Chiza Besigye attack the civil society, and really they've made them look terrible. Some of the allegations they raise against some members of the civil society, some of whom I have known to have to be of high integrity, are there and palatable. But so they solved the problem of the party platform. How I wished they even spread it to other political organizations. But I think even DP has always had a party platform, has always had a manifesto. I think they were even the first to have the manifesto before NRM. The problem the civil society had, that they did not define politicians of Uganda, more especially the leaders of these political parties collectively. The leaders of these political parties that we now have are very selfish and they're extremely very dishonest. They know games, they just play games. So you cannot afford to deal with them on issues of principle, on issues of values. I don't know where they represent the body politic of Uganda whose values have collapsed. Because now you will have very few people who are honest, very few people who are whom you can rely on. So I'm not surprised that they are taking this direction that they are taking, and that's basically the problem. Otherwise, they were intelligent people who should have seen all these problems, more especially to do with the registration of the TDA. But even if you had, anyway, at the end of the day, it boils down to individuals dominating space, individuals becoming the organizations themselves. Even why you have problems in NRM is not that it's not capable of being democratic. It is. But that the individual in NRM has become too powerful for the organization. And what makes it worse is that he has the instruments of the state. He has fused himself with the state. So is the other political grouping. Who has the money? You will hear so and so has sponsored the building. You hear so and so is the one who is buying them phones. You hear so and so his ADs, his operatives have now taken over positions. They have even become militant to the extent that they even beat the chairperson of the organization. It's now about individuals it has become the carrot of individuals. And the moment you have the business of the carrot of individuals, you can't break ground. That's basically the problem. Even my brother Semuju Nganda, there are individuals, because he's a product, not of the organization, not of his values, but of an individual. I don't need to mention his name because he's resting in peace. And probably another one who is going to come in the constituency will come because he's been endorsed by Semuju Nganda. But now let's look at the organization itself, if you could allow me. What was the objective of the alliance? The objective of the alliance was to have a candidate behind whom they would be able, if the elections were free and fair, to have 50% of the vote plus one. Now, let's analyze where they all come from. Because at least now that one we know, where Besigye comes from, Chigezi and Amama Mbabazi. In the contest between Besigye and Museveni, in Kisoro is zero. Zero. Ever since FDC was founded, in Kisoro is zero. When you go to Kabale, you only have them in Ruchiga of Jack Saviti, but now Jack Saviti appears to be in a deal with Rugunda and Museveni, to the extent that each one looks for his vote. Besigye, sorry, Jack Saviti doesn't attack Museveni, and Museveni shouldn't also attack Jack Saviti. And all of them win. It's not about Besigye. When you go to Kanungu, it is zero. Besigye is not there, and therefore FDC. Much as you even have Garuga, one of the founders. In Rukunjiri, it is in the municipality. They have failed to break through in Rujumbura, Ruawo, and the others. In Intunga, where Mukshamunt comes from, zero. When you go to Mbarara, it's a disaster. Where? In Bushenyi, they have a municipality, but it's like a conversation between their MP and the NRMs. So, still to room 7. In Kasese, even one they had there, Chibanzanga has crossed. You now have the lady, the woman MP, but you don't have them in Ntoroko, you don't have them in the Vundubujo. In Toro, it's zero. So, where have they made improvements? And therefore, the question should be that was Amama Mbabazi going to make a contribution? Was he likely to? Is it possible that people would move? And yes, there was a study. There was a study that when it comes to Amama Mbabazi, people shift from 7. And that's why I want to think that the NRM was celebrating when TDA was collapsing. And what is very interesting, they don't beat, they don't arrest campaign managers of Besigye, but now you say Amama Mbabazi and you see, you must be Chibazo not to be arrested. They are arresting them all over. So there must be a problem. Why is it that Museveni is very lenient now to the FDC and the other opposition groupings and is too rough on Amama Mbabazi? Why is it that those who are with Museveni in condemning Amama Mbabazi are now the ones on the front line to destroy TDA?
No, but you see...
I'm sorry, this what is... I know I confused the two. Jimmy Akena. You see this Aru and the others. So why is it? Why have they become more active?
I'll hold you there. Richard Baguma tells you that the technology here is not obsolete. He can watch you from where he is.
He's in Nairobi.
And he's even able to participate on the show. Viewers, you're going to be able to participate in the show online 0200 90 66 72 0200 90 66 72. Semuju.
Yes.
Listening to Charles Romshan, FDC was the devil. But that devil wasn't even, actually, I'll be as blunt as he doesn't want to put it. Besigye was the problem here. Because the individual cult, he says, rotates around Besigye. Besigye's aides have been elected into FDC. They've taken power. Nandala is buying phones. You are renting at Nandala's residence as TDA. Those are the things that he doesn't say.
You see,
but also, he goes on and breaks down and tells you Besigye in Western Uganda is practically decimated. Why do you think he would be any stronger? Amama Mbabazi would deliver an election. Never mind the fact that he lost to Garuga Msinguzi once and he pulled off the next election otherwise.
You see, there has been an attempt by Mbabazi's sympathizers to demonize Besigye. And I don't understand for what reasons. Because you see, Besigye has suffered more than any other Uganda. Things have become even normal.
More than any other Uganda.
You see, Romshan doesn't even remember that during the FDC primaries, more than 10 Besigye rallies were dispersed. He doesn't even remember that Besigye was stopped by police, was arrested and kept at his home. He couldn't start the campaigns until the international committee had to intervene. But because these things have not happened to Amama Mbabazi before, when they happen, it's the same reason you saw Nantaba on the front page, because she has been tear-gassed for the first time. And that's how the newspapers and media works. You see, when you slap Amama Mbabazi today, it will be a story for 3 days. When you slap Kizza Besigye, because he has been slapped almost all the last 10 years, it looks normal. And now Romshana says they are arresting everybody. Do you know how many of our children are in jail, including from Chireka? Every day we keep getting them out of jail. When Besigye was in Baha, there is this person. In Toroko, same things. In Soroti, almost half of Israel is in Nyoro, but because it is Besigye who has lived the same life, people think it's normal. I don't think you can have a headline that Besigye has been tear-gassed in Masaka. It can no longer sell. But because it is Mbabazi suffering the same fate that Besigye has consistently suffered for the last 10 years, it makes news, and that's how news is made. News is the traditional definition is that news is something unusual. To arrest Besigye is normal. That's how the man has ended so many hours, almost toured all the police stations in Kampala. But to arrest Amama Mbabazi at a bridge and bring him back at his home will make headlines, even international headlines, because it's happening for the first time. Therefore, you can't say that Museveni is now rough when he's handling Mbabazi and not rough when he's handling Kizza Besigye. You see, these elections in Uganda, and that's the point Kizza Besigye keeps making. I may disagree with him, but he keeps making that point. Tinyefuza shows up and he says, 2006, we lost the elections, you won. And Besigye says, yes, so if we won 2006 and Museveni changed the results, what is it that Amama Mbabazi is going to bring? Because mind you, people voted for Besigye.
Amama Mbabazi has been in there. He possibly knows where the election is rigged from.
No, you see, you deal with the state, and that's why all of us went to work together. And that's how you see people tell you Amama Mbabazi will change this. But he was picked like a grasshopper at the Ginger Bridge, brought back by Kawes. Even in the second attempt in here, he said, you will not have it. He didn't have it. At least Besigye would kick some people. And then, and in fact, even for me, I remember when I was supporting Nanda number 5 against Mugisha Muntu, I said, Muntu is such a fantastic person, but I need someone mad to go and confront mad people. You don't send someone who will speak nicely to them. So therefore, you need to understand the opposition must ask itself, and Kizza Besigye keeps asking that question. If we won elections in 2006, and the coordinator of security says that actually we won elections, what is it that we want to do this time? Is it to win? Winning we've done before, and the results are changed. What is it? And that's why he says this campaign, this particular campaign, will not be only about winning elections, but to empower the population to be able to raise up once your elections are stolen like it's done before. And that has been Besigye's campaign in so many years. Even when we are involved in walk to work, it is the same point we made to people. This country belongs to you. Don't think Kizza Besigye alone will go and change it. You must raise up like people have done elsewhere in Egypt, in Tunisia,
but
in
it's
Libya.
been challenged that when some other people raise, Besigye feels that they are eating up his space.
No, it is not.
Actually, it comes in.
You see, we started walk to work, for example, with Norbert Mao. They got arrested with Besigye. By the time I was taken to Rizira, they were being driven to Nakasongola. A few weeks later, Mao says that actually there is money coming from outside. Besigye injured his finger and he says he was shot, and Mao ran away from that campaign. And not only did he run away, but he wanted to tarnish it. So you deal with people who cannot be as consistent as Besigye, and that's why they see him as a problem. Because you see, there is an attempt to present Amama Mbabazi as a saying. Amama Mbabazi, the day he arrived at TDA, he actually said that for me, I don't want to stand as a TDA flag bearer. Change the protocol. I want to stand as independent, but cooperate with you. But he found people who were uncomfortable for the reasons I have explained. If you're a president of a political party and you want to grow that party, I mean, my sister Betkame keeps saying that for her, she did not participate in the last elections because she wanted to win. She said, I wanted to sell my party. People have different interests that motivate them to go and subject themselves to elections. You don't know whether those now the same, whether the motivation is the same. You want to go and that's why for me, I have.
Let me ask you this: you waited for Amama Mbabazi severally, to the extent that you even broke deadlines twice. Even Amama Mbabazi was nominated, I think, towards midnight. what is it that you are waiting or looking for in Amama Mbabas?
Let me tell
That
you.
we now don't see.
Let me tell you.
Because if you speak like a grasshopper
No.
at the bridge, is that what it is? What is it that you had even to break your own regulations, bend your own regulations?
I am not saying Amama Mbabas did not bring any value. I am not. I'm only saying that you are overvaluing his contribution and deliberately, because that's what the state will want to present. You see, the reason the state is celebrating, and some state actors will be happy with the Besigye walking out, is simply because they wouldn't want a united opposition. It's not that they now support Besigye. It is simply because they don't want a united opposition. And once we fail to achieve that, you don't then isolate Besigye and attack him. The decision, for example, the final decision was taken when Besigye had left the meeting 5 hours ago. It was the FDC in that meeting. I don't understand why Romshan and others would want to isolate Besigye and attack him. The man left even a day earlier. He had left. He went for his other business. This was a position of the FDC that we cannot build consensus around Amama Mbabas, and the reasons we are given. I don't want to be provoked to tell you all the reasons, but the reasons we are given on table as to why the FDC as a party cannot rally and cannot build consensus around Amama Mbabas.
Was that a position of the FDC, or was that a position of a cocoon within the FDC?
No, the FDC was represented.
Then what was the commitment?
The FDC was represented by the party president, the party chairman, the secretary general, and the leader of opposition in parliament, plus Besigye who had left the meeting. So these were authorized senior leaders, experienced leaders of the party to go and negotiate. You see, nobody now blames Amama Mbabas for not arriving at a joint candidate. It's as if Besigye must be the one who was not, I mean, it's as if he was the only one there in the meeting to take a decision. We had two.
Hello? Yes, good evening. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Very fine. Your name, question or comment?
Yeah, I want to react to Mr. Semuju. Semuju,
Your name?
always when I hear him talking about the PDA with you also almost on Saturdays. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Now, let's get it clear, Mr. Semuju. You openly, do you believe we have worked with the Afande Besigye? Can he really deliver? Can you really deliver? Be straightforward, Semuju. I've been following your talks on radios, where you have written. Please, if we really need a change, more especially with Chiba Besigye, please be open. Tell him this time it may not work. Because right now, when you look at what the strategy this big man is bringing up, Mr. Museveni, when you compare it with the Amama Mbabas, definitely the guy watch you and is going to sweep you straight away. Please, and I thought you are going to make a very good joint venture with the Amama. Please come up with something that is very smart, taking what that can disorganize this man, maybe to lose more and more support. But then when you begin, you are disappointing me, Mr. Semuju. Please.
Thank you. Unfortunately, you didn't give us your name. Viewers, you are still able to join us. 0200
Voting is by security ballot.
90 66 72. Hello? Hello? Yes, good evening. Your name, question or comment? Would you speak a little louder? I'm sorry, viewers, if you're calling in, please try and raise your voice. Speak to us. Be a little louder. Hello? Sorry. We'll try that again. Hello? Hello? Okay. Semuju, before I go to Charles, the caller feels very passionately that Besigye was actually the stumbling block to this.
No, you see, that's the point I made earlier. That to blame FDC, I mean to blame Kizza Besigye, is to do propaganda. There are a few mistakes that the FDC made, a few leaders, and even at that time, for example, people who who raided the Royal Suites where the meeting was taking place, I was extremely angry with them.
And he joined them.
Basically
went with them.
Even if he didn't join them, that alone was very bad to be coming from FDC. The FDC should never have done that. Of course, everything bad that happens is bad, whether even if the person who was beaten was a supporter. So to beat people will be bad whether you are a party chairman or not. But the point, I can understand the sentiments. All of us wanted a joint presidential candidate. And that's why we committed ourselves to sitting into those meetings. But it did not mean that you just simply have to agree and then you go into the same. Because, I mean, some questions were asked. Honorable Mbabas, yes, what is it that you are bringing? I am waiting for the NRM primaries, then people will come and join me. I mean, the waiting has been too much. The expectation around Mama Mbabas is been on. You don't want to come and then argue like now you're against Mama Mbabas. A lot of things that were supposed to have happen haven't happened. Probably they will. Yes, probably they will. There was a time we thought now going to Namboli, the day Mama was just from NRM, that things would happen. They didn't happen. Then we waited. So we've been kept waiting and waiting. So the NRM primaries may come and also pass. In the end, you don't want only to consolidate what you have. You want to add. You want someone to prove to you that I will add this. But when you ask and someone says, no, no, you wait, things will happen, and then they don't happen, and then you wait.
Let me take this call and then take a break. Hello?
Yes, please, Ratu.
Yes, good evening.
This is Asio Musa from Butaleja.
Yes, how is Butaleja?
Butaleja is cool.
Okay, give it a shot quickly.
Yeah, I just want to give to put my idea before the program. You know, the things have changed, Mr. Tibato, and the Honorable Semuji should know that the way the Honorable Bessie handles crowd, if it's pretty crowd, not real politics on the ground. He doesn't have people as we speak. Now it can take us to a different level.
Thank you. And we'll take that break and return with Charles Romshana.